Hello, this is Ginni and Nature. Welcome to my channel once again. So the new moon has just passed and Venus is in Capricorn and a lot of shifts and changes are happening. According to Western astrology, the new moon was in Aquarius, but according to the Vedic astrology, it was in Capricorn. Either ways, the new moon has made a lot of impact, especially after this eclipse that has just gone. And on the other hand, Venus has shifted signs, and to add to that, the Valentine's Day is round the corner, not very far off. So last week I had asked about what is it that you would like to know about. Yes, a lot of people said they would like to know about meditation, yoga. So the videos are going to come up. The shoot is on. Soon we'll upload that. Meanwhile, since the Valentine's Day is coming, and a lot of people also messaged me that they would like to know about relationships. They'd like to know about how certain people behave in a relationship. So, well, this video is going to be basically about how people behave in bed. Now, I understand that sex is a very taboo subject in the Indian society, and people usually don't like to talk or hear about it. But times are changing. The generation is quite forward thinking and open to such subjects, and I feel sex education is a very important part of growing up. And why not? It's one of the most important aspects of life also. So I'm going to be explaining in short about how people behave when in bed. Now the thing is that people generally say I am a number 1 or I am a number 3 or a number 6 or blah blah blah, but you have to understand that no one person is any one number. You have the date, you have the month, you have the year, you have the sum total of the birth date, you have the total of the first name, you have the total of the last name, and you have the sum total of the full name also. Other than that, the signatures that you do, the signature has its own energy. So the spellings that you use in the signature and the energy of the numbers that the signature carries is also very important and contributes to a percentage to your energy, to your personality, to what you are and how you express yourself. Now, sex is an expression of love. Well, it's supposed to be, but nowadays it's becoming a fun quotient for a lot of people. I guess that is because they're insecure and scared about commitments. They're insecure about failed relationships, about heartbreaks, which is really sad because it's supposed to be an expression of your love towards a person, expression of your feelings towards a person, which is supposed to be very sacred. That is the reason marriage, the ritual of marriage was created, so that they can celebrate love, they can celebrate conjugal rights. So, well, when I speak about people of a certain number having certain traits, understand that that person is not just about that number, because the person will obviously have a lot of other numbers in their chart, which are going to contribute to a percentage each, like the date, the month, the year, the sum total of the birthday, sum total of the year also, and the total of the name, the alphabets in the name. The alphabets, each and every alphabet contributes towards the person, how that person behaves in a certain situation, how that person thinks, what that person's dream is. So there are a lot of numbers that each person is all about. It's not just one number, but I will be taking up one number. I cannot take up multiple combinations. For that, you'll have to come and take a personal reading from me in case you want to know more about yourself or about people around you or the one you're in a relationship with or married to. Because I have noticed that people after marriage either they're usually not very open when it comes to talking about sex and talking about what it is that they want from their partner. They do not express themselves out of being ridiculed or shy or embarrassed, or maybe some of them may have wishes which may not be very normal according to normal people or general people, and they may be kinky. A lot of people have a lot of kinks. I mean, it's a part of life. It's fun. It's for them. It's fun. It's an experience that they would probably like to have. So if the partner agrees to it and they both party to it, I guess there's nothing wrong with it. That's if both of them agree to it. Because honesty and transparency is very important in a relationship. Whether it is a husband and wife, whether you are in a relationship with someone, honesty and transparency is very necessary for the relationship to survive. So let's start with number one. I mean, zero number is definitely, it does have its energy, but that is not a number that usually people have. That just adds to the other numbers. So starting with number one. So number one people are, we all know, they're basically dominant. They're a little stubborn. They are selfish also to a point, depending on what are the other numbers that they have. If they have too many ones, yes, maybe they would be a little self-centered. So even in bed, these attributes do show up. But obviously they have to understand, and the person has to understand, that you have to make it clear to them that only if you give will you receive. So it's always an understanding between the two. Now every number, whether even if it is a 1, has some numbers behind it. It could be a pure 1, it could be a 19 one, it could be a 10, it could be a 28. So depending on what are the numbers behind the 1, the people will tend to alter a little bit. So a lot of these people, because they are ambitious and driven towards career and their work, they may not really have time for sex, and they may not even give it that kind of importance, or I would say they are so focused on their work and their career and their financial stability that they may put sex on a back burner. So also because they are kind of loners, they need their space, they like to be alone doing their own thing. So if you are in a relationship with a 1, understand that it's their nature, it's their inborn nature. They can't really do much about it unless you consciously tell them and they consciously make an effort, but they have to make an effort. You will need a lot of patience with this person. And the other thing is, because they're a number 1, they can be pretty innovative in bed. I'm sure a lot of people are going to like that. Okay, so that was number 1, and now we come to number 2. These are called the steam engines. They take time to get into bed. They're not going to jump into bed with you at the, like, come let's do it baby. No. I mean, you need to seduce them. You need to seduce their intellect. And also capture their heart. I mean, they are people full of emotions. They're very sensitive. They're very touchy at times. But once they are in love with you, for number 1, they can just go have sex. But the number 2s, they would rather get involved and make love. Now, generally, a lot of people say, what is the difference between having sex and making love? Technically, yes, maybe not. But there is a big difference, because you only make love to people you are in love with. And there are a lot of people who would say, what the hell is love is all about? Well, love is when you would go all out for a person and, love them. I mean, love and unconditional. Um, Love is supposed to be unconditional. So if it is not unconditional, then I guess it's not really love. Being humans, we all have expectations. So even in bed, a number two will have expectations. They can be clingy. They'd love to hug. They'd love to cuddle. They, those soft, mushy romance, whispering, and all those sweet nothings and small tokens of love. I mean, you can win a two over like this. You just need to know how to win them over. Just press the right buttons. But also remember that a number two is very intuitive. You may think they're dumb, they may act dumb. They're not. They are very intuitive. The one is the number of the sun, and the two is the number of the moon, which is all about intuition, which is all about going within and knowing. They just know you're putting up an act. They just know that, you're just trying to get into their pants. So it's not very easy in that manner. But if you really want to win their love, yeah, you know how you should do that. Generally, they would like to be silent and sweet, but okay, so the other thing is that men have this habit of turning the other side and going to sleep after the action, but that's not what a two is going to like. They'd like to cuddle, they'd like to hug, they'd like to talk. And if you love them, or if you are in a relationship with them, for a few minutes, you need to do that for them. The other thing is that they are not really into kinky sex. I mean, if you're going to ask them to multiply the quantity, no, they're not going to like it, because they believe in making love. They don't believe in having cold sex or just for the fun of it. Yes, if you're in a relationship with them, you're in love with each other, I mean, they'd be more than happy to do it as many times as you want. So that was number two. Let's come to number three. Three number is basically about expression. They are people who are full of joy, who know how to let go, who know how to enjoy, who like fun, who like laughter, who like talking, who love music. They like art. They like to be creative. So this creativity is going to be different from the number ones. Number ones can be innovative, and they can be rough, but a number three is going to be creative and beautiful. There's going to be an aesthetic sense to it. They are very romantic, but they can be very demanding. They would like to enjoy or involve rather food and drinks along, just to make it playful, and they love to play around. I don't mean play around with your mind or your heart, but I mean to say play around and make the sexual act a fun, a thing of fun, not just very boring straight thing. You have to make a little bit of effort with them, and of course, I mean, if they see you making an effort, you're definitely going to get loads back. They love to talk. They'd love to have soft music playing in the background with maybe dim colored lighting. And since they are expressive, they can be a tad loud when expressing their pleasure. So make sure you have some music around when you're with them. And they would love to talk before, during, after. So remember that. Okay, so coming to 4. Now, as I said in the beginning, there are numbers behind each number. So a 3 can be a 12, a 21, a pure 3, or a 30. Similarly, a 4 can be 4, 13, 31, or a 22. Now, depending on the numbers, these people can be extremely sensitive. Extremely, more than a 2, they could be extremely sensitive. But the problem is that they are not expressive. They do not really like to go all out and, show to the world before they have made up their mind that they want to commit. They are not going to do that. But they are very protective, very possessive. They're not going to show it outright. They're not going to go all gaga and say, oh, I love you. No, that's rare for them to do that. They will show it in other ways. They will show it in practical ways because they're very practical, down-to-earth people. They probably do things for you which you need, not what you want, not what you ask for, but what you need. So if you're not well, they'd probably take you to a doctor or get you some medicine if there's something you've been wanting for a long time. And they see that you're not able to really, manage it. Before you say it, or even without you saying it, they'd probably go and do it for you. So that's the kind of way they show their love, like call me when you get home, have you reached home safe, blah, blah, maybe even drop you home. So that's number 4. The other side of number 4 is, yes, otherwise they're not very expressive, but when it comes to being in bed, they can be very passionate. They are very physical. Sex is very important for them. That is the only way they express their love. So they are very physical. They can have a kinky side to them. They would like to probably explore. So yes, they would. It all depends on different numbers, because if they are a pure 4, then they would probably be very traditional, like to the point, traditional, and that's it. No mushy love, no, nothing like what the 3s would do, or nothing like what the other numbers would do. Very, very traditional. That's how usually married couples are. But that happens, I think, over a period of time. You need to understand that if your sex life has become boring after marriage, then you need to add some spark to it. So to do that, understand what your partner needs or wants or likes. And for that, you can always come to me for a reading. Just to remind you, you can log on to my website, ginnianeja.com, GINNIANEJA.com. You can give me a call for an appointment. But if you come for a session for your sex life, make sure that your partner is with you. I will not do that alone. Your partner needs to be there with you. Unless it's a complete relationship analysis, you're getting married, you need a marriage, marital compatibility and relationship analysis. And for some reason your partner is unable to come with you, that's another story. Okay, so coming back to number 4. Number 4 can be very demanding, very dominating. At the same time, they can be very sacrificing. If they really love you, trust me, they can really sacrifice their own pleasure. But if you step on their toes and if you go onto their wrong side, 4 is related to the sign Aries, and you know what Aries are all about. So they can be very headstrong people. So yeah, they like to try everything, but they can be very old school. So now coming to number 5, who are definitely not old school. These people need a lot of space. So before and after sex, if you expect them to, be all over you, no. Unless all they're interested in is getting you to bed and over with it, then yes, maybe, they'd like to be nice to you so that you agree. But if they are in a relationship with you, trust me, number 5s can be fun. They like to have fun in all respects. And for them, seducing or sex does not begin in the bedroom. They would probably start days before, seducing in many smaller ways. Eyes, speech, songs, music, dancing, food. They love to eat, they love to drink and enjoy all the pleasures of life. And they are the ones who probably shower you with chocolates and flowers and, balloons, and out of the blue, they think out of the box. So they are innovative and different from a very mundane man or woman, but their their style is totally different. It's not something you can really even imagine. They would love mirrors around. They would love music. They would love to enjoy and involve fruits, food, chocolates, wine, music, lights, everything. Like all their five senses, satin sheets, all their five senses should feel pleasure. That for them is complete. And it includes, of course, the heart. I mean, they would give their all in that moment. So in that moment, if they're saying, oh, I really like you, then trust me, they mean it. It's another story that the next day they'd probably be saying it to somebody else and they'd be meaning that too. So yes, they can be flirtatious, they can be promiscuous sometimes. It depends on, of course, what is the combination of other numbers that they have. They are adventurous, so they'd like to have sex in all kinds of places, sometimes even in public. And they can be very risky. And they definitely go beyond your expectations. Now, coming to number 6. Oops. Coming to number 6. So 6 is a contrast, an opposite to the number 5s. They're very caring. They're very loving. Not that the 5s are not, but 6s are they're more like number 2s, but more so. So 2 into 3 is 6. So you can imagine they are sensitive, but they're dominating. They are emotional, but they're clingy. They are they like to create a balance. So for them, being in love is very important to have sex, just like the 2s, but very important. They always think long term. They would not just get into bed with you just for the heck of it, or just have an affair for the heck of it. No, they would avoid that. They would look more for a long-term partner, and they would like to, romance and spend time, get to know, take a long time to actually even let the partner know that the partner turns them on. They like equality in everything, so if they are giving, they expect equally back. Remember that. They love food, music, and they are the ones who would probably decorate the room, make sure it's romantic, who would have those vanilla candlelights with roses and things like that. So 6 is the number of Venus. So it's more about beauty. They are usually attracted to beautiful people and beautiful clothes, and you better be well dressed when you're around a 6. And well, good manners, yeah, definitely. So they can be both shy and at the same time bold if it comes to that. They know what is needed when. Okay, so number 7s. Number 7s are usually family people. They're very traditional, not much fun and adventurous, very secretive. They're not going to tell you what they like, but they're not even probably going to bother asking you what they like. But depending on where the 7 is in the chart, sometimes they can be perfectionists. So they can actually read up a lot if they are really interested, and they are really interested in sex, who's not? So, but sevens, yes, they can actually read up on, the details. If they like you, they'd probably read up a lot to try and get to know you better as a person and surprise you with pleasure in bed. If the seven is, however, wrongly placed, well, nothing is wrongly placed, but there are different places where the sevens can be placed. So they can be exactly the opposite. Like, they would really not bother about what you are all about, what you like, what you want, and they would only be self-centered and focused on what they like. They can shower you with gifts if they really like you, but that depends on what the other numbers are. Otherwise, they're usually loners. They reflect a lot, but it's all about themselves. They learn a lot from their mistakes, at least they're supposed to. And after sex, they would like to retreat in their own space. They would not like to be disturbed. Coming to number 8. Number 8, karmic partners. What goes around comes around, and as above, so below. So I usually say this about 8 because that's how it is written. And 8 is associated to Saturn. So Saturn is a very karmic planet. So yes, they do have generally karmic partners, a lot of them. And they are a combination of a lot of numbers. So they're very dominating, just like the ones. They're very stubborn. They can be very grounded and practical and traditional, like the number 4s. They can shower you with gifts if they really, really love you and they expect a commitment or they plan a commitment. Trust me, they will not leave any stone unturned in making you happy before they get into bed, or even after they, have gotten what they wanted. So they admire dignity, class. They like, expensive stuff. So if you ever plan to gift anything to an 8, make sure it is branded. They love to spend. So if you are going to be the miser types who's not really spending on them and you keep saying I love you, they're not going to believe it. They're not going to believe it. So as far as they're concerned, they're always well dressed, like the ones generally, and they like to use expensive things when it comes to even being, with a partner in bed, whether it's marriage, and everything is going to scream glitter and money. So that's how basically 8s are, and that's what they like. So, and it not only goes to, it's not only about what you are wearing or how you look, but also when you talk, when you behave, it needs to spell a certain, high class and dignity and mannerisms and language and the works. So one thing about them is they do not mind paying for good sex if they need it, and they are not in a relationship or they are separated from their partners for whatever reason. So, but they generally do not cheat. They generally are very faithful people. But if you have hurt them, then it won't take them long to go for a one-night stand. So you have to be a little careful around them. They can be very vindictive because 8 is also the number of Scorpio is the 8th sign, and the Lord of Scorpio is Mars, and Scorpio is a sign of death, sex, secrecy. So yes, they can be secretive, but it is it can be very vindictive, just like the ones. Even ones can be like that. So you have to be careful that you do not hurt them. Now coming to number 9, and so number 9 is the number of the planet Mars. So it's a very, very passionate sign. Again, it's a very karmic number. Sex is a very important thing for number 9s, because Mars rules Aries also. Remember, so what I said about number 4? So 9s, yes, 9s encompasses all the numbers from 1 to 9. So it has traits of all the numbers. They can be dominating, they can be emotional, they can be loners, they can be very creative, they can be traditional, they can think out of the box, they will be very popular for being good in bed, because trust me, they will have a lot of karmic partners. Other than that, they can be secretive, they can be dominating in bed, and at the same time very giving. Just like the number 6s, they can be extremely caring, nurturing, and once they commit, they would like to be faithful. If the other numbers don't support it, and if they have a lot of karmic patterns, then it's a different story. But they are loners. So sometimes, even in spite of being in a relationship, they tend to feel very lonely. And in case any of these numbers, like an example for a number 6 or a 7 or a 9, if they feel insecure, or if they have any kind of an inferiority complex, they can go out and indulge themselves just to make themselves feel better, or to prove something for themselves, not to prove anything to the world, or not to be vindictive towards the partners, but just to prove to themselves. So yes, it happens with a lot of people. It could happen with a lot of numbers. I just said a couple of numbers because there are more chances, but generally it can happen with a lot of numbers and a lot of people, depending on what the combinations are. So we end with number 9, and I will see you soon, coming up with a lot of videos on meditation, on Feng Shui Vastu, and a lot of things. Meanwhile, if you need a personal reading, a relationship analysis, which is very important that you get it done, because how will you know what your partner is all about till you understand them? How will you know how to save your relationship or build a beautiful relationship till you understand each other? So I generally advise that both the partners come together and get an analysis done, because when I do a relationship analysis, it covers everything from the basic traits to the inborn traits to sex to the insecurities, the challenges, and the potentials. And it helps that I explain to the man about the woman and to the woman about the man, so they both understand each other, because there are things you cannot change. And if there are things that either of them can change, then I would guide them and ask them to consciously make an effort. Meanwhile, you take care. I hope you liked this video. Do click on the like button below if you like it, and if you need a reading, you can always call me or log on to my site ginnianeja.com. Thank you so much. Goodbye.